Are you stuck? What about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for 30-minute moments as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. It's time to celebrate that life with 30-minute moments.
Hello, I'm Alena Chapman, and this is 30-Minute Moments. Before we even begin, that the Savvy Sisterhood community of growing supportive women on Facebook is growing like crazy. I am so pleased to say, if you truly want to expand your personal growth and you want to have that friendship and support of other women, then join us on Facebook at Savvy Sister by Alena Chapman. It is a special free program that I am offering of discovery and community. But act now so you don't get too far behind, because this thing is chugging along and growing. Now, let's talk about today and my guest. I have a woman who was behind the chicken soup for the soul. Her name is Patty Aubrey. She is co-founder of the Canfield Training Group. You know Jack Canfield. Former president of Chicken Soup for the Soul Enterprises and a #1 New York Times bestselling author. She also has a family and social obligations and publishing, and she is busy as a bee, just like all of us. She understands totally how you can get so confused in your life with so much going on. So we're going to talk to her about focus and a bunch of other things. But I'll tell you, this woman is responsible for marketing more than 250 titles and 500 million copies of the Chicken Soup books and licensed goods for worldwide. And right now, I have to say, this woman is also starting on her own mission, which I love. And she's transforming the world by creating hope and the awareness that peace and abundance is within all of us. You just have to believe it to see it. That's funny because I always say whatever is in your heart will become your reality. So to accomplish this, she has a new goal. Patty, I love this, which is to train 1 million people by 2030 using the same system used to build Chicken Soup for the Soul. I love this. I love this. And I have to ask you, and with that, I'm bringing you in, I have to ask you, what got you started on this new mission? I mean, you were doing great with the Chicken Soup of the Soul series, and the training. So what is bringing you into this new place?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes I ask myself that myself. I started Chicken Soup in '89 with Jack, and we really worked on it for a long time. We didn't get anything published until '93. And around 2000, we started to look at where are we going, what are we doing, what does the future look like? And as knowing that our contract was up in 2008, we were just sort of getting a little stale at the end of the Chicken Soup for the Soul sort of era for us.
Right.
And so we decided to sell it to another company that just had more energy for it. They had a big budget. They wanted to really invest in it. And when we did that, we sort of sat around and went, now what? And especially, sort of an identity crisis. I think we all have that at some point in our lives.
Yeah,
we were kind of going through that. We were known as the Chicken Soup people, much more so Jack and Mark than me. I was just, the crazy president. I always say my memoir will be from soup to nuts and back.
Oh, cute. I like that.
I was tired of it. It was a lot. We did, like you said, we did about 250 titles, and the creative processes were kind of just disappearing.
Yeah.
We got rid of we handed that off to another firm. They went ahead and took that ball, and then we really kind of checked in with ourselves, which I encourage everyone to do, and really look at what's next. And so we started to look at what we had done before, and we originally started, when we started working together, was we were teaching teachers how to facilitate self-esteem in the classroom.
Ooh,
and so one of the ideas
I like that a lot.
We kind of come full circle and look at teaching the world how to not only increase their own self-esteem, but to share the messages that we have not only shared with the world over the last several years, but we actually implemented in our business to grow a $1 billion brand.
Yes.
And so that's what we did. And so we started doing that for a while. And then I was in Dubai, and Jack was speaking a lot more than I was. I was doing small groups for women. I literally sat in this classroom one day and I said, God, why am I here? and I heard as loud as day to be a student. And I went, that's interesting. I don't usually get a response. So I opened up my notebook along with everybody else, and I just started listening to the day, and I thought, okay, I've listened to the same talk 100 million times. And suddenly I was doing this visualization exercise, and I just had this complete download of having to create some sort of a certification around the work that we had been doing and put it online. And it was, I swear, it was like a beautiful mind. You know, when you just have that clarity and suddenly you can see everything.
Yes.
And I just started mapping it out as quickly as I could. And I turned around and I looked and I saw 2,000 men in robes. And I realized that these people are never going to get to the U.S. or California, or we don't even have a room that big in California for these people. and so it became my mission to take this work and create an online program that would allow people to consume it at their own home, to be able to watch Marvels over and over again, to really learn this content. And especially I wanted it to be I wanted it to be a way that it wasn't so expensive that people could have come, because people that were coming from around the world. And so I literally became obsessed for about 2 years and told everybody about my idea. And everybody said, you're crazy. You can't transform lives online. And
yes,
I just
you
said,
can.
I don't get downloads like this very often. I have to listen to the universe.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I sort of ventured off on this mission. But the bigger discovery for me was the limiting beliefs I had around my own ability. And as much as I had produced all these books, I had been on book tours, I'd been on national television, I had a lot of wins. I was successful very early. I really did believe that I couldn't do this work. You know, I was comparing myself to Jack. You know, here's Jack Canfield, known for the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. He's a Harvard grad. I'm a Valley girl that was San Diego State. There's no way that, you know, I can do what he does.
Yeah.
And
we do that to ourselves.
I think a lot of women do that.
A lot of people do that, you know, the limiting thoughts.
And through it, I realized that I could learn it, but I had to learn it differently. You know, sometimes I say to, and I think we've said this before last time we met at the event that we were at, don't ask me to do an interview at 9 o'clock at night because my brain isn't totally there, but in the morning I'm great.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time as women we think, oh, it's hormonal, or I'm just getting older, I'm tired, and who am I to think I could do this? And I say the 2 years that I created this program that we're talking about was the most awful, horrific, amazing, experiential, expanding, stretching time of my life.
I bet it was.
And we've trained 3,000 people with the online program around the world, and those stories I get are amazing. And so it is working. You know, so often as women, we support men, we support our families, we support other employees. We're motherly. We have that instinct.
Yep, we nurture.
And so in order to really be a cheerleader for women, I wanted to give them a tool that could say, if you absolutely watch this, use it, teach it, do it over and over again, it'll be a game changer. And so that's really kind of what drives me.
When I see that a woman or even a man, if anyone gets that, finally just it clicks, that everything just clicks and they understand and they can start accessing and they can start developing what they want and they start creating what they want, and then they can even start a business with it. When that all starts to happen, it just gives me goosebumps. To see someone living their dream just sets my world on fire. It really does. And to see more and more people doing that. I mean, there's nothing like living your dream. There's nothing like making something you create come out into the world.
And I also think that it's a major Prozac experience, you know?
Oh, it is. That's why we're here.
1 minute you think you're at the top of the world and it's going to be amazing, and then at 4 a.m. you're thinking, did I just drink my own Kool-Aid and I've lost my mind and I'm really nuts? You know, I mean, especially when you're developing something for so long and doing a lot of it sort of independently.
Yes.
And
that brings...
when I feel like when you, women and men and everyone, even my kids, we have this conversation. When you have that intuitive feeling like something's not right or this idea could be amazing, you have to listen to that.
Yes.
That's a God-given.
It's a gift.
Gift that we've been given, and I think so often we allow others to influence us and we ignore it. But at the end of the day, the biggest message for me was the only thing that could get in my way was me.
You are here listening to 30-Minute Moments with Patty Aubrey and your host, Alena Chapman. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you discover your true purpose on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Welcome back to 30-Minute Moments. We have Patty Aubrey here talking about Chicken Soup of the Soul, the progression, her own mission. This is fabulous stuff. And I'm Alena Chapman, your host. Patty, okay, we're talking about, living your dream, going for it, and just breaking out of all the critical thought. But I want to take you back a little bit. When you were just starting with the Chicken Soup of the Soul, and, you and Jack and everything was just not so hot. I mean, it didn't just happen overnight, correct?
Yeah, it took about 5 years, actually. It definitely wasn't overnight.
Okay. And it got pretty tough. I mean, sometimes when we go for our dreams, there's I like to call it the training period. But when you're living it, it can be pretty tough. Could you describe a little bit of that so people understand?
I think whenever you get into anything new, again, it's always scary. So First of all, if you're scared, you're stretching. So I'm already going to commend you. I mean, that's something you have to remember.
Yeah.
Living in the comfort zone can get pretty boring and
very boring.
It gets old. So, I have a million war stories, but there were times where we literally couldn't pay. We literally could not pay for toner. And when you can't pay for toner for your coffee machine, you can't print out manuscripts to give to people to tell them what you're doing. That's how bad it was.
I know. Yeah.
And at the same time, we kept surrounding ourselves with people who were responding. Every time I would read a story or tell a story, people would say, "That's amazing." So I constantly trying to get feedback to stay enrolled and engaged. But I think the secret sauce, and I hope that anyone listening will really take this to heart, is that we can never go anywhere alone. There's this old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Even when you're scared, I call it have your poker face and say, no, it's okay, it's going to be great. And inside you're thinking, is it really? But I would do that with them, and they would do that with me. And so when you have someone besides yourself, because I tell people all the time, when you do this stuff alone, it's really easy to talk yourself out of yourself. And if I talk to my friends the way I talk to myself, sometimes I most likely would not have any. And we're hard on ourselves.
We're very hard on ourselves.
It's scary. It is hard. But when you're committed to it, you have to keep your head in a space that's grounded, not so much down that you don't see through the trees, but in a way that you're doing your meditation, you're getting your exercise. Especially, I think, women that are starting over or reinventing themselves, it's really important for me to do raw food, to get exercise, to do my meditation.
Yes.
I'm a completely different person when I do that. If I go home and Netflix and have 2 glasses of wine and sleep in and don't exercise, I'm just not with it.
Right.
And
That's
so
exactly
I think
right.
it's really important from a holistic model, but also just to know that this is scary stuff. I scare myself every day. And I have this conversation with myself, and then I remember, God doesn't make junk. We're all here for a reason, and everything is really perfect. And when I can get out of my own way and realize that if I let things unfold, then I can stay aware and open and not able to respond. And it's always scary. Anything new is scary. I use this analogy a lot, but we don't sit with our parents and they don't buy us a little tricycle and then tell us from the time we're 2 until we're 13 how to ride it. They basically say, get on the bike.
That's right.
And so it's when we get on those bikes and we take a risk and we survive it that we build our confidence and our self-esteem. And the only way, unfortunately, to do that is to actually take action.
You have to take action. Don't you find that it's living on the edge of your comfort zone, basically? And if you're always expanding that comfort zone, taking a step outside of it, you can get used to, eventually you actually get used to that growth and you get used to that stretch. I for one, love stretching my comfort zone. I have become, I live by it now. If I get bored. And you're right. If you are too comfortable, or you start to do the binge on Netflix and the sleeping in and just lackadaisical, you get lackadaisical when you're in the comfort zone too long. But if you are stepping out of it, you have something to always kind of get the butterflies going in your tummy, and you have something that you're looking forward to. You know you're going somewhere. You know that you're making an impact on this world. And I think you can get really loving that. Do you see what I'm saying? It can change.
Yeah.
It can change. And that's where I'm at now. I just love it. I love getting out and speaking. I love going that one step further. But it takes, I think it takes doing it a few times, getting used to it, and then you just can't settle for anything less.
If you make a list of the things that you've done that you're proud of or that you stretched, and
Yes.
then sometimes I would call them my list of successes. Sometimes I call them my list of reminders. I used to get up when I would travel. This is a silly example, but I would 2 days ahead of time, I'd start to become a witch at home, and I'm screaming at the kids and stressed out. And finally, when I went, oh, wait a second, this is just me 2 days before I travel.
Yes.
And then I have an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And once I have an awareness, then I have the ability to respond differently and change my behavior.
Yes.
And so what I do is I make a list of all the things I've done that have scared the crap out of me, basically, in my lifetime, which is quite a few. And then I try to go back in time and say, okay, how did I feel right before that breakthrough? How did I feel right before that stretch? And then when I can recognize that in me, in today's world, when I'm doing something again, now I say, oh, yeah, that feeling, I know that feeling. I've survived it before, I can do it again.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it ties it together. And we go, and so it's not like I'm making a list of my successes and saying, oh, yeah, I did all these books and I'm this and I'm that. That doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't.
What matters is that we continue to do that, because the big trap is living in comfortableness.
Yes.
I could just settle today and be fine.
Yep.
And life would go on and I could live comfortably ever after, sort of, but I'd be probably pretty depressed and bored. Or I can continue to scare myself to death and have fun doing it. But also, I can't tell you to do it if I'm not doing it.
Exactly.
And so when I'm able to share with people around the world what it feels like for me and the struggles I've had with, there's a lot of excuses to use. Well, my kids are little and I'll be a bad mom if I go do that. And those things are always going to show up, and our responses are really the only thing in our lives we can control, and they're the only ways to create new outcomes that can be amazing and fun and really a game changer for other people.
And we will be right back.
This is 30-Minute Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner self every Sunday on WOWO and at WOWO.com.
Do you want to be a part of a group that gets things done and stays in touch? Or perhaps you're not being who you truly want to be. Maybe you're relying on someone else to make you happy. It's time to expand your personal growth and take back your power. Join Savvy Sisterhood by Alena Chapman. The ladies meet on Facebook every Monday at 7 p.m. It'll be your first step to your personal growth. Join the group, and the best part is, it's absolutely free. Savvy Sisterhood by Alena Chapman. Find it on Facebook and get ready to take back your power.
You are listening to 30-Minute Moments, and I'm Alena Chapman. And today we have Patty Aubrey here, Chicken Soup of the Soul, $1 billion business, actually. So what I want to talk to you about, Patty, is, this is my question. Going for our dream. Okay, you got the rough times in the start, but you get through with it, and you got the people around you. We talked about that. But now this is the key. And I know that this is the biggest struggle for people going for anything in their life. It's how to surrender the how. And I know that you've learned this. I've learned this. This is important, though, because you can drive yourself crazy, constantly worrying, constantly having that anxiety. What am I going to do now? How am I going to strategize this? How am I going to do that? But could you please talk about surrendering the how?
Wow. That's an interesting one. I think I've been doing that for so long now that it's really second nature for me. But I think for a lot of people, it is a struggle.
It is a struggle.
There's a couple things. One is there are two things that I think are really important. One is when you're living your truth, that's the fastest speed of it's the highest level of consciousness, truth.
Yes.
So when you're telling your truth, and you're telling your truth to yourself, which is, I've been put on this planet to do this job, and you really do it. That's one of the ways. And so now I'm just going to be open to whatever shows up, and giving yourself permission to really create a new habit called listen. And for me, when I'm working with clients that are, I'm an idea machine. I think I get pretty creative, and I've had to over the years.
Very creative.
There's a book called The Power of Habit. I highly recommend it for everyone, because how we think is just a habit. And so when we think in this way, we want to remember that those old habits can get in the way of getting stuck in the how. And so if you don't know how, it might be because you're afraid and you're just sort of frozen, which happens to all of us. So surrender and just call in some higher power or the universe to support you, and trust. Trust is huge.
Yeah.
And with that, it's the speed of trust. Stephen Covey talked about it forever. That's really important. There's another piece, too, that might be that you really have never been there before and you just don't know how. But that's okay, too.
That's
because
okay.
You have this blank slate. You've got this amazing canvas that has nothing on it, and you get to create whatever it is you want. So when you go deep and you truly ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want to contribute? What do I want to get back? Who do I want to become? Then you can open that space up to start to really be honest with yourself. That's that truth to you. I deserve it. If I deserved everything in the world, if I had a magic wand, what would it look like?
Well, that's what I always say. I love that term.
Draw that out. And then for the pieces you don't know, for example, when I did this certification for the Success Principles and the online training, I went to my COO at the time and I said, listen, I know I have big ideas. I scare people. People think that they say, oh, I need a Patty. What you really need is a Jack, because he can chunk anything down and make it really simple. And I went to my COO and I said, Russ, I have this idea. I know it's meant to happen. I don't know how to get there. And I could have gotten pissy and, just resentful and thought, oh, God, no one's helping me. And he said, well, let's talk about it. And he took out this list of stickies and he said, give me the first idea. I said, I know that we have to show them how to create safe spaces. He just said, all right. And he sticks it up on my kitchen cabinet. And by the end of that evening, we had these stickies all over my kitchen cabinet, which, by the way, lived there for about 9 months. The house looked like a beautiful mine. My kids were very concerned.
Oh, that's all right.
So if you truly don't know, ask someone. And don't ask someone who's not going to support your big dream. And there's a lot of different kinds of people in the world. There's executionists, there's visionaries, there's all kinds of different people. And one of the things that I've had to learn over the years is how to deliver my big, scary vision in a way that's not scary to other people.
Me
If you're new at this and you really want to jump in, go get the support you need. My dad said to me my whole life, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it worked out well for me because Jack Canfield kind of knew everything, and I knew everybody. But you want to surround yourself with people that will support the vision. You want to be able to ask for help when you need it. And then you want to just know the whole time going through this, it will be kind of painful at times. It will be that moment of, am I going crazy? Expect those things. Know they're going to show up. There's exits on a freeway. You probably know which one you're getting off at. But you're going to pass a lot of them too.
Exactly.
So having that awareness, remembering you have it, listening to things like this, this radio show, support yourself and your mindset as much as you can. Because if you do that, you'll support yourself to success.
And you have to keep that mindset. If you keep yourself, like you said, Patty, in that holistic, doing the things you need to do and that mindset, then I'll tell you what, when the how will unfold, if you really trust, like you said, in your truth and what you're doing, it will unfold. You just start to walk the walk. It's the law of gestation. You start to walk the walk and things will start happening. No one could tell me I'd be an international bestseller two times. Nobody could tell me I'd be hosting a radio show. It's unfolding. So this is my favorite part. I want to ask you, Patty, I know that you have this new program called GoalFriends, and I would like to see, how did that come? How did that shift happen that you developed this?
Well, I was actually doing something really scary. And about 8 years ago, I built a home in Hawaii, in Maui, and I overshot my financial reality. And so I decided to start doing luxury retreats there, which was a very scary thing for me. And one of the first retreats, I met this wonderful woman named Darlene Whitehurst. And she walked in the door of this home that we had, and she said, I own this PR company. It's called Adsource Media 3 out of Raleigh, but I have a dream. And she showed me this workbook. It had this red high heel on it, and it said GoalFriends. And it was one of those moments where I went, holy, you know what? Oh, my gosh, this is going to be big. And I looked at her and I said, when you're ready, I will support you.
Wow.
We stayed in touch. And about 2 years ago, I called her and said, it's time. And she said, let's do this. And so we created this great thing. She had started it called Wednesday with Women in Wine. And then she realized not everybody drank wine and changed it to GoalFriends. She's very creative. And so together we've partnered up to create this $49 a year program that you buy a workbook and you can get together with anywhere from 6 to 12 other women. And every month you meet once a month, like the first Tuesday of the month, and there's a curriculum. It's very light. You start with a bucket list, and then you go into what you want. Not heavy stuff, but a way to connect literally in person, physically. And each meeting, there's a goalie, which is the person that that runs the meeting, and there's a hostess where you go to that house. And so it's constantly changing. And what I love about this program is that I call it my gateway drug to self-help. Every single woman is equal. There is no guru. Everybody gets to do a presentation, and it's simple to do and really fun. And I say that GoalFriends show up when no one else does. And it's been so true. It's like this grown-up Girl Scout meets sorority. It's in 7 countries. We have people all around the world. It's absolutely fascinating. And it's so empowering for women to be able to hear their own voice and see how they're making a difference. And I think it's going to be bigger than chicken soup. It's affordable, it's simple, it's fun. It's the connection we need as women to support each other.
That's beautiful.
I don't know. It's just something that I'm completely passionate about. I absolutely love it.
And that's kind of like the program I'm doing, too, with Savvy Sisterhood. We'll have to talk more because it's along the same lines. It's very cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really the different groups supporting each other.
Folks, that was a perfect example of the unfolding of the how. It has been so wonderful to have you as a guest. And could you give people how to get hold of you, a website, or what's the best way for them to find out more?
Sure. You can either go to GoalFriends.com or you can go to PattyAubrey.com, and it's AUB as in boy, ERY, or just send me an email at patty@pattyaubrey.com.
Folks, you've been listening to 30-Minute Moments. I'm Alena Chapman. If you'd like to learn more about Savvy Sisterhood or GoalFriends, go to alenachapmanlife.com. You can sign up right there, or go to Facebook, go to Savvy Sisterhood by Alena Chapman. You have a fabulous weekend, and just surrender that how and go for it.
This has been 30-Minute Moments featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now at wowo.com.
Podcasts by Federated Media.